Ngowi TV, informed economists and business perspective.
This is the book, and as it just said, it was launched officially on 30th of November in Dar es Salaam, Mzumbe University, but then it was pre-launched in Nairobi, October last year. It will be launched again in Zambia, for reasons that I'm going to tell you, on 20th of April this year. And it might also find a launching in Norway sometimes in 2018, because of obvious reasons that you'll see later. So, its title is Lifting the Vail of Secrecy, Perspectives on International Taxation and Capital Flights from Africa, where three colleagues and I edited the book, and the other colleagues are authors also. They are based in Norway, one in Christian Michelsen Institute in Bergen, Norway, and the other two they are also in Norway. This is Sigrid and people who are now with the Tax Justice Network Norway. I'll skip really some of the lunch, but some of the details. But then there has been wide dissemination of the book, really. It has found its way to Harvard University. I just gave some books. This in here, and giving a lecture on PPP. It has found its way at Aruba University in Zambia. It is in the University of Dodoma. It is in Kagera. It is really widely displayed. And it is also free online on a website that can be found on the, in the presentation. And of course, there's been a lot of simplification in terms of, well, not simplification of the book as such, but then some topics really have been simplified in some media presentation. So essentially here, what I'm doing is to take only a few of the issues that are happening in the book, for reasons, of course, that are clear. We cannot really go through all the book, but then it's good again to get the background. This is a book based on a larger research project in Tanzania, Angola, and Zambia, and that's why pre-launch will be also made in Zambia, and it has been a 4-year project. So this is one of so many outputs. Now some of the selected issues that are kind of overarching issues here in terms of themes are issues around the tax incentives, tax avoidance, tax evasion, and illicit capital.
I think the book has taken a very important angle of looking at the solution to the problem rather than only exposing what is happening as far as capital flight is concerned. There has been many studies exposing how much the continent is losing. To mention a few, Global Financial Integrity in 2015, I think they released a report that shows increasing trend, from 8% to about 11% annually. So it means the problem is growing rather than decreasing, despite all the efforts that are going on, including OECD, base erosion and profit shifting project that has put out a number of regulations to guide tax authorities on how to deal with the whole issue about transfer pricing. Still, the trend doesn't suggest that the problem is declining, so we still have a problem. The same was revealed in the Africa Progress Report. Again, massive revenues flowing out of Africa. And of course, Tax Justice Network has published several times showing the same trend. So in part of the trend, we still have a problem. So why is it still becoming a problem? And why all these efforts have not been able to address the problem? And I think I would point to a few things. One, I would ask whether there is really a genuine political will from the international community to address the problem. And who is really benefiting from all this secrecy in the global financial system? That's my question. Two, I would have expected global institutions like UN playing a key role. When I look at the role of UN as far as financial secrecy, global financial secrecy, the UN has a very low profile role. Does that really show there is a serious and genuine political commitment from global, the international community to address the problem? So that is a problem I'm seeing. You mentioned issues about tax incentives, which are within the mandate of tax authorities in the respective jurisdictions. I think the challenge we're facing here is lack of rigor in assessing effectiveness of tax incentives. Yes, tax incentives are important, but if you give tax incentive without a rigorous analysis of what you intended to get and whether you're getting it, and monitor that over time, definitely we will continue having this problem. So either you will stop tax incentives that might be beneficial to the economy, just because you didn't do thorough and rigorous analysis, or you will give tax incentives that are actually redundant, doesn't really influence even investors' decision to invest in the country. And I think this has been proved. Certain surveys, I remember, where the CEOs of many multinational corporations were interviewed, and they say tax incentive is actually at the list of their priority when it comes to decision to invest. Top priority is really predictability of the investment environment. So if whether you give 100% tax incentive, but if the environment doesn't guarantee that if I invest my money here, I'll be able to recover at a certain point, if there's no political interference and all these things. So I think, again, we need to be very careful in assessing our tax system.
I just want to make a follow-up on a question as whether incentives are relevant to Tanzania or not. And I'm just asking myself, is there any study that have ever been conducted to assess the impact of the incentives to these multinational corporations?
First of all, there is a question to Professor Ngowi. Looking at autocratic countries and democratic countries, where do you think tax evasions on all these IFF are happening, if you compare? But also, we had discussed issues like social deception goes slowly. People tend to believe some practices as they are normal and legal because they are brought slowly. Now, you remember in recent years we had corruption in politics called takrima was normal, and the people thought it was common. But later, it was announced by the court that that was corruption. So on the matters of financial flows, illicit financial flows, some things looks like they are common things. Some people hiding money in other countries, some people receiving corruptions, they deal with some drugs and they appear rich people, they are better when they go to villages, they are more respected than those who do the correct things. So this has to do with changing the mind and the culture throughout the generation. The young people we have today who are not employed, the youth badge, they are easily attracted to drug abuse practices, and when they become politicians, they can do favors in incentive business on their personal gains as compared to public interest. So if we don't prepare the generation properly through civic education and a proper education, we may have dirty politicians, poor politicians, and popular politicians benefiting from this kind of giving incentives. But also the other observation we made here was the ability of the government to detect or deter these practices. Do we have prepared? You said correctly in the TRI when you was it Lang, you said the country had 12 personnel, and that was huge. A big country which has millions of people, if we have very few people who are educated in that matter, maybe we will be losing a lot and maybe we'll be causing a lot of IFMs. But also the conflict of interest, politicians, when they want to, are they really giving these incentives for the public goods, or they are giving these incentives for their personal gains? So we have to question that.
We have about three issues to be elaborated on this. The first one is on the gulping of investment cost vis-a-vis the institutional framework and the capacity, the national framework, institutional framework, and the capacity we have in order to counter or to look into the investment cost, which are, especially we're talking of the mining sector and the oil and gas, whereby we can be deceived and at the first place during the project write-up. How do we counter this? How do we verify or quantify the investment cost in terms of equipment and all other accessories which are required to invest, so that they don't count, we don't end up having declarations which lead to indefinite losses which are being declared. So this issue needs to be elaborated on it. The other one is the abuse of tax holidays. We've seen a number of times whereby companies come with different names after just before the tax holiday has expired, they keep changing names. Has it been taken on board to make sure that we have in place strong institutional frameworks to make sure that these issues do not repeat? They do not get on continuously. The other one, how do we recover the stolen assets? Do we have the means to recover the stolen assets? I mean, we're talking of the funds, we are talking of even the assets which have been through capital flight, been hidden in secret jurisdiction, banks and the lot. So these issues we need to be highlighted on these issues so that we get the way forward. In the way forward, we should include all these things.
We started by discussing the issue of morality and ethics on this table. And we are wondering really what is ethical, and what is moral, what is immoral. And one of us was actually challenging us and saying, in companies, they exist to maximize the profit. And their priority really is to ensure that they satisfy the shareholders. And, you know, that's a normal practice. The issue here is that if they are using the loophole which is in the legal system, in the taxation system maybe, and the loopholes there, the laws that are there existing, they are using that loophole to maximize their profit. What is actually illegal? I mean, what is immoral in that case? Who is immoral then? Is it the ones who are making those laws, or is it the companies that are maximizing the loophole which is legal? So that is something which is quite contradicting. Maybe the authors can help us. But again, Cyrus talked about the whole issue of UN and some of these big organizations not really doing anything meaningful when it comes to the issue of illicit financial flows and some of these global issues which have been in place, but an organization like UN has done nothing about it so far. The issue is what should be done then? Then some of us were saying maybe this is because of selfishness, which is somehow immoral. And then again the issue came back to say, what is immoral if the legal system is allowing me to collect more, to abuse the system? I mean, what is immoral then? So that's something that needs to be addressed. Then somebody else also was raising the issue of community participation. The people, that when they are making policies, for example, in our country, how much are we involving the grassroots people? How much are the people on the ground involved in making these policies? For example, a lot of money is not being collected from the so-called informal businesses. We are using time to talk about big companies, but we are losing a lot from the informal businesses which are not formalized, and there's a lot of taxes that are not collected. The issue here is then who should be blamed if the people on the ground are not involved even at the level of policy making.
If you want me to start with the one on stolen assets, and in the book we partly talks of the Abacha billions. The Abacha billions, Abacha, ex-president of Nigeria, with billions abroad. So really when it comes to restoring stolen assets, it's an international issue. It takes two to tango. It depends really on the cooperation of the countries, because normally we're not talking about stolen assets, we are talking of the stolen assets, stolen money, stolen finance, that is normally in the secrecy jurisdictions. And this really takes cooperation between the recipient countries. We tend to mention Switzerland, but then we have the Cayman Islands, we have so many others. We even have our own rising African tax havens. The Mauritius of the world, Nairobi is about to have an international financial center. So I think really it's a question of cooperation between these countries. Partly, Switzerland I think had shown part of effort, a willingness really to collaborate with these countries. But the problem is if they have laws in their country that allows for secrecy, they have to change their laws first before really countries like Tanzania can benefit and again the stolen assets. The other question, for example, Godlisa and I, the question on issues of tax incentives, whether are relevant to Tanzania. Of course, that has been said, yes, essentially, yes. Now the question is on whether they are as relevant today as they were 30 years ago. And of course, Professor Zimoja, I think, has kept it very well. And maybe I'll ask the question on whether there have been studies on impact of incentives. Really not indirectly, but then I know there have been Harvard conducted a study, and I think this is exactly what Alium Hollande said, he's my teacher, that really, captains and titans of industry have shown incentives are important, but they are not the first thing that they would ask for. If you read the World Bank's doing business reports, and I've been going throughout all of them, over 20 I think now, if you read the Tanzania Private Sector Foundation's report on business leaders' perceptions to doing business in Tanzania, if you read between the lines, you would see really what they are concerned about is really business environment, broadly speaking. Tax will be just quite a number of those, and actually they won't talk about tax incentives as such. They'll talk about multiplicity of taxes, they'll talk about predictability of taxes, they'll be talking about tax returns, those kind of stuff. Really, tax incentives is just a very small thing of all those things. They'll be talking about the question of skills and talent in the labor force, they'll be talking about the infrastructure, they'll be talking about the quality of power, electricity, and the utilities, they'll be talking about corruption. So really, tax incentive is a very small thing in this whole equation. Whether autocratic and democratic countries where we see these financial flows more, we did not focus as such in this, but intuitively I would say, maybe in autocratic countries, maybe you are likely to see illicit financial flows more than in democratic countries, because I think there is more, there is more uncertainty in such countries. So countries are likely, you are likely to have more of what you call the push factors in such countries. You are likely to have more insecurity in such countries. If you have to mention countries, people will find it less safe, let's say, to keep your money in Somalia, for example. So it's likely to find money, to take money outside the countries. People find it more safe to keep your money in Norway, Denmark, for example, which is highly democratic than other countries. Again, the question of corruption and in politics, I think I'll skip the details, but then I think the issues that you read there are very, very obvious. Now, the question was on conflict of interest, whether our policymakers will be giving incentives, whether it is for public interest or personal gains. I think there have been such debates time and again, and really there have been a call for public scrutiny of these incentives. And I think that Act 2014, if my memory serves me well, partly really concerns where all these incentives should be brought to the public scrutiny. Instead of giving the minister responsible for finance all the power to make all these decisions, it has to be more open to public. Exactly for the purpose of opening up and making sure that there is no, this conflict of interest. Engineer Ngazi, I think, if I got the name correct, the question again of investment cost, you go back to the question of transfer pricing, issues of the capacity of the country really to know which is appropriate price. If you are to read the then, because now it is over, and the then ETM as an mineral charges, you would see in its report what we call allowable and non-allowable cost when it comes to deduction, so as to get now, tax exemption, etc., etc. I think the key issue really is, the question to which, at arm's length rules are applied or not. Now, when you don't have, when there is what we call information asymmetry, when what nationals know is not what the authorities know, exactly that's when we're having there's problems here. To almost go to the end is the question of course tax abuse, and I think it has been named. But now the question of name changes, and I've written this for a while. It's a debate really. It's a debate because indeed taxation is a going-on concern. Change of names only does not warrant a tax exemption as such, because it's a going concern. Just changing from a hotel X to hotel Y by itself really does not say that yes, then you also forego. I mean, you also kind of benefit from a tax incentive. There are more debates than this. Mama Grace on issues of morality and ethics. That's why I think I'm mentioning Bishop Munga for 40 times now. He used to be with us and he would beg us when it comes to issues ethics. And I'm sure Mama Grace, she knows more of ethics than me, and if we even have Dr. Sebahene would have bailed us out. But I think, broadly speaking, when it comes to tax evasion, tax avoidance issues, we have discussed this several times, that there are issues maybe within the confinement of the law. Yeah, it could be legally okay, but again, it does not really move, the moral responsibility. And it's two-way traffic really. It's both on us who are making the laws, and sometimes we see the loopholes. I'm not sure if you have lawyers here. We see the lacunas. We see exactly where tax planners, and this is in the book here, for example, there is a chapter called "With little help from banks." We could have said we are talking about like the four, the audit firms, the role of the lawyers. They are helping in designing, these tax schemes, to enable companies, maneuver around authorities to reduce their tax liability, totally in accordance with the law. Now the question is, to what extent is this moral? Now I think I'm seeing this problem myself, and I think it's a very great issue that you are raising. Again, if you have our religious leader, where Mama Grace is highly working, I think they have talked about this several times. If you read a $1 billion question 2014, $1 billion question, no, 2012 I think, and $1 billion question 2, 2015. I think these issues have been discussed highly by religious leaders. I think I will end it here now because the question of incentive I will talk, but I will spoil everything that Professor Simbodia has so eloquently posed. And thank you for helping us. He is one of my mentors. It's very good to have two mentors around here.